Hi, this is Chad. We just wrapped up a pond out here in Kennett Square, and this is it. We had a spring house here. It supplies the farm as well as the house, and pumps were leaking in the spring house. We had to be very careful for cleanliness and not to contaminate the water. No contaminants, no machine use around that. What gets used goes up to the barn, the house, and then excess comes up to an overflow pipe, flows out of that and back into the stream. Levels of sludge, maybe 3 foot of sludge across the whole thing that had to be addressed. Not a whole lot of room on the farm here for the material, and we had to address how to get rid of that. There's approximately over 300 ton of sludge that needed to come out of here with the weight of the water. We were able to utilize the nearby farmer. We rented his side slinger spreader, put the sludge into that, took it down the road just over maybe a quarter mile, and then spread it on 25, 35 acres, and we quickly ran out of space even on those fields, just blasting it across there. We tried to be careful with the banks to not take too much. The grass edge is very important. It's the root structure that we rely on to keep the erosion and sediment under control. The standpipe was clogged, so we were able to address that. We actually put a new standpipe in. We put a gate valve for maintenance so that we could very quickly lower water level. And then on the standpipe, there is a grate for leaf, debris, sticks. We also put this dock here so you could get right down to it, easy access. So gate valves in ponds in conjunction with the standpipe. It's a great way to lower ponds fast before a large 10-year, 30-year storm. Lowering that pond will just help as material flushes into it. Also, it'll be good to get some plantings around the side. We can just quickly lower that 12 inches, get our plantings done, close the valve, and it'll fill very quickly. Standpipes also tend to accumulate a lot of material around them. So as that happens, you can sort of stir them up, pull the valve, flush everything into that. Just to give you a comparison, a residential toilet is a 3-inch pipe. This is an 8-inch. So when you pull this, it's the crazy flush pulling action that happens around this area, sucks everything out of here. Over to an area where you can collect it and then close the valve, let it refill back up. Great for maintenance, great for planting around the edge where you need to access. Just a very easy way to maintenance your pond. We also thought, instead of rinsing all the nitrogen debris into here, let's put some swales around it, off the road. Come down, hit a grass swale, and bypass, go around the pond instead of right in. Depending on where you're at and the amount of runoff, infrastructure that was put in before certain laws were in place of how to deal with runoff, you may be in a very serious flash flood type situation where you're going to take on more debris and water and just constantly flush things in. So depending on the pond and the amount of runoff and leaves and roads and highways, each situation is different. So having an idea of the amount of runoff and where it's coming from is important when designing a pond and clean out and how often it will need to happen in maintenance. Start to finish, the project here took 2 weeks. We had to cut an access road in where the slope was too great for large equipment. We had a track loader here, excavator, the manure spreader, tractor, 2 to 5 operators here at all times, of all age ranges. Working here in Kennett Square, it is mostly clay, so we were able to keep the clay liner. It's important to know that when dredging and working around ponds, if we don't keep that clay pack, we need to be very careful not to touch the edge and even leave some of the sludge if we're going to jeopardize the clay hard pack that is the waterproof membrane essentially. It's not that we take out all the sludge every time. With clay hard pack, knowing what soil type you're working with, if there's a shortage of clay or an area where you start hitting gravel, boulders, and you start losing that clay, that's an area where the pond will no longer hold water. We have to be very careful when dredging a pond to know soil type at all times in each part of the pond where you're at. The further you move into an area that could be built up, you know that that was man-made, that soil was put there in a certain way, and if you start changing that around, the pond may no longer hold water. If you have a farm pond, a drainage need, concern, please call, reach out to Turpin. What do I do with my hands?